TWM podcast.
Hello, bonjour, welcome and other international greetings. I'm Matty Dell and welcome to Best of the Rest. This is your Friday roundup of all the odds and ends in your wrestling week indeed. Part of TWM podcast, bringing you content 6 days a week on Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Acast, TuneIn, Podbean, YouTube, and all other places you can get to your podcast. If you're listening to us on YouTube, hi, subscribe please. We want to get to 100 subscribers so we can have one of those fancy custom URLs like the YouTubers have, and then we can start being problematic and not get in trouble for it because we're on YouTube. Also, please leave us punch the like button. I watch YouTube, and turn on notifications and all that stuff. And please leave us a 5-star rating review on any podcast platform of choice. Admin, before I introduce everyone else. That's right, everyone else. We'll get into that in a minute. We Love Sport, great app on the Apple and Google Play Store, the only place where you can check out where WWE is showing in your local area. Want to go to a sports bar, want to go to a bar to watch WWE pay-per-views? Check it out on the We Love Sport app. Over 400 bars and pubs in the UK available on there, and you can book front row seats, and sometimes they've got special deals on as well. Go download it now, Apple and Google Play Store, like I said, welovesport.co and We Love Sport UK on all social media platforms. Want some wrestling swag? Sure you do. Why not? Sounds like a laugh. WrestleCrate.co.uk. Use the code TWM Wrestling to get a free autographed item in your crate. That's TWM Wrestling at WrestleCrate.co.uk. Now, it's normally the Essex Connection. It's normally me and Kim. Unfortunately, Kim had a family emergency, had to quickly shoot away. So I was lost in a sea of messaging people to see who's available and who can watch a lot of wrestling in a very short amount of time. Luckily, I have some friends that had nothing to do. I want to say it on a Friday. While you listen to this, I'm probably drunk off my ass at Rev Pro. So currently, on a Thursday evening, I found not one, but two people that had nothing better to do than to watch some random wrestling with their friends. So I have Kyle.
Just like old times, baby.
And I have Reese.
Yeah, you say like nothing better, but that suggests I don't spend every waking moment watching wrestling anyway.
This is true. I do think it's a toss-up between me and you over who watches the most wrestling out of the context of TWM. Because I feel like it's pretty much between me and you. Most people just watch it and then literally have lives, whereas me and Reese just literally go home and go, what obscure wrestling can I find on the internet?
Yes, so yesterday I watched ECW Guilty as Charged 2000. The day before that, Sold Out, WCW.
Yeah, you're on some sort of weird trip at the moment of you're watching all the pay-per-views from 20 years ago.
Do you know what it was? Mambo let me borrow his time-travelling surfboard.
Oh yes, of course. We have Reese, the man who interviewed Chuck Mambo. Go check that out on all of our platforms as well, on TWM Talks. There's loads of them. That is the most recent, and it's very, very good. So go and check that out. Anyway, enough waffle. We've got wrestles and great reality TV to discuss. So let's start off with some NXT. We've been talking about it for weeks. It's now the debut of Aoife Valkyrie on NXT UK. Do you think someone else who made a debut in Amal? Me and Kim have been talking about this for... Oh, has she been on previously?
She's been on previously.
Okay, then undebut. This was an undebut, but it was a debut for Aoife Valkyrie. It's probably interesting to have you on, Carl, and you, Reese, as well, being a bit more versed in the independent scene at the current time.
Oh, I thought you were going to say because I am the local Irish wrestling aficionado
and the Irish
of the podcast.
But this, what's your first impression of this character? Because this is very un-Valkyrie-like.
It's very different. Like, for building her as more like, it feels kind of like Deathbringer, like Valkyrie kind of thing. It's just going to be like, she will like entrance you, so you will be enamored by watching her and then take you to your doom.
Did anyone else get a feeling that it was very Ember Mooney, her character?
Slightly.
Reese, did you get that feeling from Valkyrie?
Yeah, it felt a bit different. Like, I've not seen her before. This is actually the first time I've seen her wrestle. I've never seen her on the independent scene or anything before, so I don't really have any kind of context to compare it to previously.
To give you,
More OTT like ECW.
to give you context without Carl shouting promotions at you, which you should watch more OTT, to be fair. She's gone, like I said, this is her being almost an Irish Ember Moon style character, and considering that her gimmick on the indies has basically been the Iconics, but like a better version of the Iconics with Debbie Keitel. So it is a bit of a random, like, change in persona. However, since you have got fresh eyes on Aoife Valkyrie, what were your thoughts, Reese? Do you reckon it could go far in NXT UK? Were you a fan?
Yeah, I think so. I think with when you debut a new character, they have to have like a certain edge to them, and I think this had that. It's something that's gonna stick in your mind when you see it. Yeah, I think it's got potential.
I also love, Kyle, that she's still doing the Vogue, but now it's a more dramatic, historical Vogue rather than...
Yeah, it's less like posy and more like intense. Like if you noticed it, I think even the camera like changed its angle and zoomed in on her face as she was doing it.
Yeah, it was. I like it. Like Valkyrie's very fluid. She's got some little kinks to work out in in-ring stuff in WWE. She's getting used to that style. However, I don't know what they're going to call it in the Fed, but I fucking love Death Note. The kick off the top. She somehow makes her legs 2 foot longer in midair. When she's doing that move, it's so cool.
They could keep it because it's also an anime. Like when you think of it, like Death Note is.
Yeah, that's that
Japanese anime.
I'm pretty sure that was the reference she made when she did it on the Indies. I don't know if it fits in. They'll get some sort of. They'll find something in Irish.
Oh no! It's like thinking the wings like make me think of Ryuk from Death Note, the owner of the Death Note, and it's really really weird. If she just comes out with a Death Note, like eventually, like List of Jericho style, I will be.
Maybe it is. Maybe I'm thinking it's Irish mythology. Maybe this whole thing is meant to be based around Death Note, and I've just completely missed it. But
she's just gonna get rid of the NXT UK women's division by writing their names in a Death Note. We'll be like, what happened to Toni Storm? Death by Kitten.
That's how they're gonna write off Jazzy Gabbert. Where'd she go? Death Note gone, disappeared.
No, but. Can I just say for a second as well, I feel this character possibly fits her a bit better than the Woke Queen's character would have done in WWE, because that's more of like the comedy like gimmick, which the Iconics, even though it's not in NXT or NXT UK right now, have already like they filled that spot really. So it needed to be something completely different to stand out, and this is something that we've not seen in NXT for a while, or at all since Ember Moon, really. Yeah,
no, I'm very, very keen. I reckon she'd be a good fit to face Kaylee Ray down the line. Other bits from NXT UK, we had Banks square up to Wolf from Imperium, so maybe we're going to get Travis Banks. Maybe that's going to be the takeover thing. Maybe we have Travis Banks against Volta. Don't know, not sure. However, all we know in the immediate future is Mastiff is gunning for Walter. He beat the Muscle Cat, Saxon Huxley. He did some Walter tings in his match as well. Storm and Kaylee Ray, they had their I Quit match made official. I think that happened. Did they say next week? I don't think they mentioned when it would happen.
I wasn't paying attention. I heard I Quit match and I got excited, and then I kind of zoned out.
I'll tell you what we didn't zone out for. It's been a long time. We got a Grizzled Young Veterans promo.
What a promo it was. Like, Zach Gibson is second to none on that mic.
So good. This was a really good one. I just love the fact that he went, the York are like the Hunt. It's like, they are there, but if they weren't there, no one would care. It's so unnecessarily mean.
My new favourite thing in Gibson promos, though, is he just like goes to give the microphone for James Drake to say something, and he either says like one line or says nothing at all. Yeah. And it just really fits.
It's just a bit. What's anything famous about York? And James Drake just goes, says nothing. Who speaks less, Camille or James Drake? We need to find out.
Why do I stand selective mute?
They are your favourites. You seem to like people that don't talk back, which says a lot about you, Kyle. if we're honest here.
Oh, God.
From one to the other, Joseph Connors says he'll beat Tyler Bate. You won't, and even if you do, I still won't fucking care. Why are you still on my TV? Go away.
I kind of wonder whether they should consider repackaging Connors, perhaps as a mute, like someone that wears a mask, perhaps.
Could he just go in Valkyrie's Death Note and we could just be rid of him? Because, Jane, from now on, I think I am just going to bring back the old What Culture Pro Wrestling thing. I'm not going to refer to him as Joseph Connors. His name is now just going to be And Joseph Connors, because it's the only time I've ever found him remotely interesting.
He's a very good wrestler, but there's something lacking still. I just can't get behind the guy.
I'll tell you what, this is the thing, because he was on, and I will recommend this to go watch. If no one's ever watched My First Match with Mark Andrews YouTube series, it's very, very funny and very, very good. There's a bunch of him and a bunch of wrestlers watching their first matches ever. Joseph Connors was on the last one, and he's very funny. He's very dry and just very cutting about Sid Scala's debut match. So he does have a bit of a dry charisma about him, but they seem to be obsessed with making him like this unhinged psychopath, and it doesn't work.
I have to say as well, the first time that I saw Joseph Connors that I can remember was back at a Southside show a couple of years ago now, and it was when he was the Joseph Connors experiment with legs.
Yeah, I remember hearing the Joseph Connors experience featuring legs, which is just really good.
Yeah, and it's just seeing a different side of him where he just got to play up more to the crowd, but this just seems like he's more focused on the in-ring work, but he doesn't play up to the audience. So people watching him, it just seems dry because he focuses all of the offense, all of the mannerisms as well on his opponent, not crowd interaction, which a lot of other wrestlers, villains or good guys either side, will do no matter what.
Joe Coffey defeated Ahmed Jordan in a squash match, and then the main event was Gallus over Lorcan and Birch. It was passable. It was an okay main event. Ilya squared up to Joe Coffey, and he gets a kick in. It was the highlight was the funny thing is the highlight was the first match, and it was Valkyrie's debut. Everything else was kind of just fit. I did the GYV promo was pretty good as well. Other than that, it was a pretty pedestrian episode of NXT UK.
TWM podcasts are brought to you by We Love Sport, the fantastic app finding you your nearest sports bar showing the latest WWE pay-per-views. We Love Sport has over 400 of the best sports bars and pubs in the UK at your fingertips and allows you to book front row seats, giving you the best views of the action. You can also check out what sports are being shown over the next 7 days, making sure you don't miss a second of the action. Download the We Love Sport app on the App Store or Google Play Store. Follow We Love Sport on all social media platforms at We Love Sport UK and check out welovesport.co.
Jordynne Grace is your new Knockouts champion, ending the record-breaking reign of Taya Valkyrie, not Aoife. Taya, different one. This was a pretty good match. Full disclosure, by the way, unless Reese is going to tell me in his one of the random watchings he's watched Impact this week, because it was very late doors, neither of these guys have watched Impact. So they're going to be basing it off me telling them what happened.
I'm still subscribed to the Facebook page, so I get all of the results and all of the highlights and all of the stuff that I don't watch because I work random shift patterns.
So, Jordynne Grace has won the Knockouts title. Kyle, probably the right move to make. Taya's literally done everything she can do with that belt.
Was there anyone left for her to face, really?
No, Jordynne Grace was pretty much the only one. I do have a question for you, Kyle, as you would be well versed in the Knockouts genre. Is Taya the greatest Knockouts champion of all time, in your opinion?
Reign, yes. Actuality, probably not, because my mind always goes back to when Gail Kim came back and first turned with the alignment with Karen Jarrett at the time, and
Madison
the
Rayne.
eventual loss to Taryn Terrell was quite a big movement for the Knockouts division, and Gail kind of put an entire division over, even in defeat, because it was kind of rebuilding the division back then, whereas Taya has had these opponents who were bit more well known like Madison Rayne. Jordan's well known like on the independent scene. She's made Kiera Hogan look good, who most people won't have known about. But to me, like, Gail had to recreate a division when she went back.
That's a very good one. I think it might be put up on our Twitter saying, is Taya Valkyrie the greatest knockout of all time? And me and Shirley both said she's top 5. For me, Gail, Tessa, Taya, Kong, Madison Rayne was my top 5.
I'd say you can possibly put Taylor in there as well, Taylor Wilde.
Taylor Wilde didn't do a lot. Like she was champion for a bit. The other argument was Angelina Love, and I said Angelina Love's a close 6.
Angelina was the first 6th time, I want to say, possibly. So
yeah, so she was she's my 6th place. So Reese, what would your top 5 knockouts be?
I'd have to go, the same as like Kyle said. Gail Kim would have to be number 1. I think I'd probably rank Taya like 2nd after Gail Kim, just because of like how long this reign has been and how long she's done.
I base Tessa on more the history rather than the knockouts title reign, to be fair. So maybe it is unfair for me to put Tessa 2nd. Yeah.
Can I switch my vote? I've just remembered when Tara beat Brooke, she gave us Jessie Goddard, so...
So, just because she gave us Mr. Pectacular, you're putting Tara in your top 5 now.
I was always a fan of Tara, so...
Tara, I think, would also have to be in that conversation, and I think Brooke Test match is probably up there too. She
did do a lot. Like, a lot of people, would mock, but Brooke did a lot for that knockouts division in the you could also say Taryn as well. Taryn Terrell, what was it a last woman standing match she had? Was it with Gail Kim? You would know, Kyle. Was it?
No, I think it was last woman standing when she did the running cutter off of the stage.
Yeah, out of nowhere. That match was so much better than it had any right to be. But they've got a lot. But I would say you would put Taya in the top 5. But what's next for Taya? Do you have her go for the world title? Maybe you do Tessa and Taya Valkyrie for the big belt.
I feel like she has beaten every single female, and when you go back to recent knockout title reigns, Tessa was perhaps the most dominant outside of Taya. I mean, she had the Gail Kim match. She had Gail's endorsement, really. And maybe we could get that again, but for a bigger title. I don't want to say that it's a bigger title, but currently Tessa is making history, so it feels bigger in this moment.
Well, it depends whether they are going to go forward and do the unification, which they may do down the line. Depends on what comes post-sacrifice with Ace Austin and Jordan Grace, Tessa Blanchard, if they're going to do that and then move forward. Because what I would love is turn Taya face, have Taya go after Ace Austin in the X Division title. That would be lovely. I would like that. They did a really nice, great video package on Jordan Grace and a really good promo on her as well. And the match was really, really good itself. Jordan Grace took a powerbomb off the apron onto these really tiny wooden steps and took a Homer Simpson bump on them. It looked fucking horrific. Other things on Impact in Mexico. Elgin went 2-0 up in the best of 5 series. It was okay. It just was okay. They had a match between Madman Fulton and Daga, and Madman Fulton was sloppy as fuck because he dropped Daga right on his head twice. German suplex, dropped him right on his head, then did his end of days, and somehow managed to drop Daga head first on the end of days.
Absolute madman.
I see what you did there. The Zoo division, it's got kinky because the Moose is getting a massage and he asks the masseuse to massage his ass because Rhino is a pain in it. Rhino appears, slaps his ass, beats him up and whips him with a towel. It's getting sexy.
Is this kinky or sports?
I don't know. I bet that's a Reddit page somewhere. r/kinky or sports. We got a big upset as Falabar defeated Ethan Page, so it looks like we're getting the Phil Am connection against the North going forward. Susie is back. Kind of, because last week Rosemary beat the shit out of Susie until Su Yung returned and Su Yung killed everyone, but then Susie's back. but she now has control over herself, so now she can transform from E-Girl to Demon Bride. And she killed Father James Mitchell, so he's gone back to the undead realm. And then he said, "Daddy's home," and I felt uncomfortable.
Tumblr didn't, probably.
RVD's got new music, and it is dog shit.
Wait, is he no longer coming out to whole effing show?
No, he's got some sort of weird hip-hop thing. It's really bad. It's not good at all.
So his music now sounds like he's come from Grand Theft Auto.
Yes. RVD as a heel, however, really good, because he keeps refusing to do all of his moves and stopping moves midway to make out with Katie Forbes. I fucking love RVD as a heel. It's so funny.
It's so good. You look at like someone like Jericho, who like reinvents himself every couple of years, like completely changes his character. Like that's what RVD's done here. And he's so entertaining all of a sudden.
All it took was...
all of a sudden, I mean, like, he was already, but, like...
But he's been doing the same thing for, like, 15 years, and he's completely flipped it, had a midlife crisis, and suddenly has become one of the most entertaining people in wrestling.
Matty and I talked about this, like, a number of weeks ago. We genuinely thought, like, RVD was just going to have, like, midlife crisis, and it would be like, what the hell's next? But it turns out to be perhaps the best television.
It's so, like, this match was just basically... Also, there was a 3-minute back and forth where it was RVD pointing himself, and then Joey Ryan pointing his dick saying, "Touch my D," which was amusing. It was all bollocks, but it was entertaining bollocks. However, RVD did not take the dick flip. So Ken Shamrock did, but RVD did not. Keep that in mind. Yeah.
I'm gonna possibly suggest if these two have a rematch. Do you reckon somehow Joey Ryan's going to make Katie Forbes touch his dick?
I feel like that's eventually going to happen. I've got a feeling it's going to happen. Meanwhile, week 2 of Tessa Blanchard being the world champion, she got one backstage segment and it lasted 3 minutes. Not good enough. Last week she was in the opening contest. This week she's in a backstage segment and not even on TV. You just made a woman the world champion. I know you made a potential problematic woman a world champion, but you need to kind of follow through and not just like, you can't be half pregnant on this one, Impact. Poor form.
TWM Podcasts have joined forces with WrestleCrate, the original and best monthly themed monthly wrestling subscription service to bring you a fantastic deal. Now, if you use the code TWM Wrestling when you sign up to a monthly subscription at WrestleCrate.co.uk, you will receive a free autographed item inside your first crate. Now, WrestleCrate brings you the best swag from the biggest companies and names in the wrestling world. We're talking t-shirts, photos, pins, DVDs, vinyl figures, and loads more from WWE, Progress, Shakara, NXT, Fight Club Pro, and loads more. That's WrestleCrate.co.uk and use the code TWM Wrestling for a free autographed item, all thanks to WrestleCrate and TWM.
We mentioned half pregnant, so I'm going to pretend that was a segue and go right into Ms. and Mrs., the main event of this podcast. This is the first time that these two have been exposed to Ms. and Mrs., and it is as mental and entertaining as I promised. Yeah, and it kind of gets explained, Carl, in the first 5 minutes of this show, because this show went from 0 to 100 real fucking quick.
There was less than 3 minutes in, and all of a sudden there was already tits.
I'm clipping that. We open with Miz working out. He's put off by the ridiculously scary dolls. Then it all goes mental, because Maurice starts to walk on a treadmill in a maxi dress as they discuss the dolls, and somehow the dress gets caught and she has no underwear on, so Maurice is now naked, and then in the process Miz knocks over several dolls with a barbell. What the fuck just happened?
Tits happened.
Entertainment happened. They go to the OBGYN and Miz wants a boy and Maurice wants a gender reveal, and I fucking think gender reveals are the dumbest thing on the planet. Don't know about you.
It's so American. Like, we don't really get those over here. It's such an American concept.
It's now infiltrating its way in. It's like coronavirus, but it's coming through Essex. It always comes through Essex because Yeah.
Can people die from gender reveals, though?
Have you not seen some of the videos on that where people end up like firing toxic gas into the air?
I've seen some where they like light fireworks and people end up like setting themselves alight.
Yeah. Reese, what's your thoughts on gender reveals?
Oof.
How much time do we have,
I don't
Reece?
know, to be honest.
I love that Reese went into it like we were just generally dicking about. Reese asked, he was like, I need to give a proper response. He was ready to like proper give like a question time style retort.
Oh, somebody alert Paxman.
I thought the reveal was to everyone else, not to the Miz himself. Like I thought surely he'd know.
Yeah, I always thought the parents would know as well. So it's weird.
No, but it's a thing like where a lot of parents don't want to know, so they entrust it to the someone that they trust, and then it's like, lol, I'm gonna plan this whole thing for you. I would genuinely love that if somebody just pranked them and put like both in there. It's just gonna be like, I don't know either.
I didn't ask the OBGYN. Miz is excited at the sight of his potential baby having a penis. Spoiler alert, it was not a penis.
It's always the cord. Every time.
Always the cord, never the penis.
The best part was his reasoning for thinking it was. It was like, I've had one of these for my entire life.
I too have a penis. Jesus, there's 2 podcasts today where a lot of penis talk. If you listen to Wednesday Night War, you've heard me constantly mentioning the bloke who did the Willycopter at the football over and over again.
He's had a lifetime ban from all.
That apparently isn't true. That's not true. That was a rumour. It's not been confirmed that he got that in. But I may have said that I wanted the end of Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley to be that Ric Flair comes out as a Willycopter that causes destruction.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, like, then all of a sudden, just like Willycopter guy comes out as Bianca swinging her brain.
That makes it somehow worse. So you're at Raw, and Renee and Miz talk about Maurice and wanting a baby boy. George Miz is a meme. Everyone remember that? Remember when George Miz was a meme for 5 minutes?
How could we forget?
That's almost a year old at this point.
It is. I forget now that there seems to be always one meme out of WrestleMania now every year. There was George Miz last year. There was Nicholas the year before. So, God knows.
A few years ago, it was just the song Green Light.
That's not a meme, that's a way of life. How fucking dare you?
Depends how you feel about it.
I'm ready to go.
The Cena running up the stage.
I'll run up the stage, yep, that as well. Memes are great. That's going to be in there with the podcast. Memes are great. Zack Ryder roasts him, and then Miz tells George to stop doing radio shows because he went on a podcast because he thinks he's famous.
Can we get George Miz on our podcast?
I will ask Adam to message George Miz. I guarantee he charges. Maurice tells her sister to not tell anyone the gender of the baby. So what could possibly go wrong? There is the narrative arc for our episode. Maurice also can't say circumstances because French Canadian.
The best part was when her sister thought she was trying to say circumcision.
Yeah, you cannot do this under any circumcision. Fine, I'll stay away from the doctor. Maurice's sister hides it in her boobs, and Miz Dad wants merch, and Miz Dad is a con man, is what we find out. Oh, this was great. So Monroe then he shows off all his merch. He's got these shitty t-shirts and these shitty bibs and also shitty like baseball cards, and Monroe instantly rips it up and laughs, so therefore she's a hero. Miz Dad drops trowel and shows everyone the Miz Dad boxers, and Monroe instantly cries in a brilliant moment of editing.
I was going to say, Monroe is basically what you would imagine like Twitter would be for the reactions to this entire thing.
We cut to Miz finding that Maurice's sister Michelle is asleep, and first of all, I immediately went, oh my god, me too, me too, me too. He's going to reach into her while she's asleep and try and pull it out. Thankfully, this didn't end in a sexual assault because the idiot decided to leave it in a fucking drawer. Did not even try.
Was the drawer locked?
No, the door was, but it's his house. Of course he's got a fucking key. Miz steams an envelope like he's Bart Simpson, but then he's caught by, I think, Maurice's niece, Alexia, who rightfully bribes him and then goes put the envelope back. So not only is Miz Dad a con man, Maurice's niece, Manice, is a con man as well.
That is the best thing that you've said in a long time.
My niece. We find out that Ms. Dad is doing a meet and greet, and Miz is scared no one will turn up, so he agrees to share it on his social media on a really obviously fake social media notification, which I love. They can never ever show proper Twitter on WWE. It's got to be like Home and Away, where they've got to have some sort of fake Twitter, like user interface instead. It's brilliant.
Do you know what they should have used instead?
Tout.
Exactly.
I knew he was going to fucking say tout, you bastard. And then George told everyone he got tweaked about it, and Miz had to remind him that it was tweeted.
Or was it?
Or was it? Or did he get tweaked about it? Someone to give him a little tweak on the bum. People did turn up to this meet and greet, and then George, instead of being humble, just immediately roasts Miz, going, no one turned up to your first autograph signing. Oh, God bless it. Also, just long live the George Mizanin pose. I feel like it's overdue a comeback.
Well, you know what we're going to say, like, next TWM, like, meet up and we always get a group photo.
What,
everybody Miz Dad pose.
Miz Dad pose, George Miz Dad pose.
Super strong style this year. Everybody Miz Dad pose.
He took back any man with two hands is worth a fighting chance away from someone who's a wrong 'un. So George Mizanin is a saint. Anyway, gender reveal party time. Dolph is here. Also, here's this comes later on, but I didn't write it down, so I'm gonna. Oh no, I did write it down. I'm gonna save it for later because he's a regular, recurring character in Ms. and Mrs., and it's always funny.
He's our Liv Morgan, except instead of chaotic neutral, it's lawful good.
We'll talk about him later. Dolph Ziggler's here, and Miz is given the cannon, and he wants to blow one early so he can find out what the gender is. Did anyone else immediately know what was going to happen here?
No, I was like watching the Chuckle Brothers like going on because that's what they reminded me of.
What, Miz and Dolph, the Chuckle Brothers?
Yeah, it was very much like, no, if you watch them passing the confetti cannon, it's so to me to you.
Again, referring back to random teams. So on this podcast, we refer to Miz and Dolph as the Chuckle Brothers. On Wednesday Night War, if you heard it, I referred to the Young Bucks as Rod and Todd Flanders. So... don't tell me it's not true, because it is. Straight away I was like, yep, he's getting blown up in the dick. So, and the cannon went off right in his dick. This was a kayfabe dick shot, unlike when Kevin Owens did it at New Year's Eve. Have you guys seen that video, by the way?
No, it sounds like I want to, though.
Kevin Owens' wife put it up on Twitter, and I think he shared it of, like, he had one of those, like, the pop cannon things for New Year's Eve, but held it the wrong way and shot himself in the balls with it.
I need to find Karina Steen's, like, Twitter now just to see this.
Oh, it's so funny. Because you just sitting a bunch of gold sparkles on his dick. It's so funny. But Maurice pranked him, bro, because Alexia ratted him out, so it was all an elaborate scheme. But then Maurice opens up and says she doesn't want to go. She's worried that he doesn't want a girl, and then Miz once again, like he does on every episode, says something really, really sweet and kind to Maurice, and gets away with being a dick for the whole episode.
Oh, don't you just love reality TV?
And I'm not. Go on. What did you say? You can say something, Reese?
No.
Oh, I thought you were primed and ready there.
Reese adjusted his browsing position, probably.
What I am going to say is this isn't the first time he's a recurring character. Here's Ryan Cabrera.
Oh, God, let's get excited for that.
2 episodes, he's been in it twice. He's a recurring character. Apparently, he's dating Alexa Bliss now, according to the internet, which never lies. Miz Dad gets a WWE shirt. He's okay with it. Gender reveal time. It's a girl. We all know, because in real life, the baby's just been born. We knew that. And then the show ends, as it should, with George Mizanin shooting himself in the dick.
All is well.
All is right with the world.
This episode had a lot of tits and dicks.
Yeah, no, like, we watched the first episode. Well, this is the third, I think. No, this is the third episode. So two out of 3 episodes have had Ryan Cabrera in. Like, we watched on the first episode when they did the whole covering up this season on Miz and Mrs. It's just a lot of Miz and Maurice getting naked and being covered up by Miz TV signs. This show is bizarre, but in the most entertaining way possible, and I love it.
The way you describe it sounds like Tumblr and Reddit are going to have a field day.
That as well, but it's just... because when I showed Kyle this, and he was like, "Oh my god, it's like half an hour long," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's not Total Divas. It's not a reality show. This is more like a sitcom. It's like a half-hour sitcom, and it's real. Like if there was a laughter track on this, it'd be like WWE's version of Modern Family, but funny.
2.5 mezzanines.
But well." And we have a new name for the podcast. Well done. You can follow us. I'm not going to top that, so I'm just going to finish. Twitter at TWMWrestle, Facebook.com/TWMWrestle, Instagram at TWMWrestle. Please leave us a rating review. 5 stars, if you please. Apple and Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, Acast, Podbean, and YouTube. On TWM.news, you can read loads of great articles about the Iconics, about Ruthless Aggression. That documentary starts on Sunday, so I might give a little mini review on next Friday's show, because I'm very excited to watch that Ruthless Aggression documentary series on the network. WWE, AEW, New Japan, British Wrestling, Independent Wrestling, all that good stuff, all up at TWM.news. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. Just search TWM Podcasts. Get us up to 100 subscribers, and then we can have a fancy, nice URL, and then we can start pumping out more content. You can check out Jess Hastings' excellent guide to Brit Rest. Episode 1 is up right now, and we're going to be putting a lot more video content up there. Reese is going to probably do some as well, because I know he's been asking about doing some video stuff. And also, go and follow Reese's YouTube channel. There's some things on it that are good. Subscribe to him and subscribe to us. Reese, social media.
Oh god.
Where am I? I've shot myself. Did you shoot yourself in the dick, Reese?
I just completely lost my trail of thought. I am on Twitter at Reese Teddy.
Kyle, you don't believe in social media. It's against your religion. So do you want to share anything else?
I have somebody Irish to plug. That sounds really disgusting.
I'm not going to let you say anything else. I just want you to say that's your news you're breaking. You have someone Irish to plug.
But genuinely, she made her NXT UK debut this week. Go follow Valkyrie on Twitter. Her handle is in the most recent episode of NXT UK. Go find it there.
There we go. I'm at Matty ID. We are at TWM Wrestle. Miz. Best
ending to a podcast ever.